Welcome back to the morning show on Tobago Updates Television, and thank you for staying with us. We continue conversations this morning. We speak with Mr. Curtis Williams, and he is the president of the Tobago Division of the Chamber of Industry and Commerce. This morning we're speaking about crime and the impact on businesses here in Tobago. If you think crime wasn't your business, trust me, it is yours, and we're going to have that conversation this morning. Good morning, Mr. Williams, and welcome.
Good morning, and good morning to all your viewers and listeners on Tobago Updates. It's a pleasure being here.
Yes, it is a pleasure to have you here and to have this conversation. You know, we need to have meaningful conversations as we speak about the impact of crime on different industries. You know, we're talking about the safety of lives, and now we're talking about the sustainability of businesses on the island of Tobago, which also lends to our livelihoods, right? And we want to get into the conversation, but before you start, I want to share an experience with you. Sure. You know, yesterday when I heard about the shooting in Argyle, I was so very scared, right? And I was standing at a street vendor to get something, you know, from those food trucks. And I was standing there and literally looking over my shoulders because of the state of the crime on the island of Tobago. And this was early evening hours. And I felt very scared, you know. And so this is the position we're in now. And it can't work. It can't work. So from a business standpoint, I mean, what are we doing?
And you're correct. You felt scared. You can imagine how we at the business community and how we talked about the entire event. It's not a nice time for us. It's really not a nice time for us. We see things just moving from worse to just worse. What we see happening in the space is that a lot of folks are taking advantage of the. I think the police soft approach just can't work any longer. The police need to be more proactive in the deliverance, and that soft approach really didn't work, and now they have to step it up a bit. They definitely have to step it up a bit. So I call upon the ACP Hazel to understand he and his team Kurt and his team senior superintendent Kurt, they need to step it up. It can't be business as usual any longer. We at the business community, we're not going to accept it. It's not business as usual. They need to step up the game.
Exactly, and especially if persons like the experience I had yesterday, then I just will not patronize the businesses. And I will stay indoors, you know, and so the businesses are impacted. They are affected by reduced sales. You know, we were having a little banter before we came on set, and we were talking about the type of impact it's having on the business community as well.
Yeah, definitely. Some of the business decided to close early. No one going to stay till 8, 9 anymore. Everybody want to close by 6 o'clock. By minute dusk comes, we want to close our shops, we want to close our mini marts, we want to close our saloons, we want to close everything. The restaurants and them is a bit concerned because they know normally that's night and dinner, and most of the restaurants are open air restaurants and you know, on the west. So you can imagine if that kind of activity moved down to the west, what will happen to the bars and all of them. So we asking the law enforcement, the TTPS, up your game. You definitely had to up your game. Last night, yes, I did make some wrongs. I saw some more patrols in various areas, but we stated we want to say to them now, I mean, fet over, back to work now. Up your game. You definitely had to up your game. You spoke about the drug blocks, and you really have to look at that. We know all the drug blocks. We know all the pushers. We know all the gangs, and we're not doing anything. We're waiting for something to happen. It's like we're waiting there just for the murder or the crime to be committed, and then we go on and spread red tape and blue tape and all kind of tape. Today, this morning, the police definitely had to step up the game. No two ways about it. And we at the business community, we're going to give them another opportunity to let's see if something is going to happen, as we're definitely going to do something meaningfully. We can't sit any longer and accept that laid-back approach to this kind of a criminal gang warfare on the island. It's just shooting like Western. That's what's going on. So you there were having your snack, you're probably at your food truck, and then suddenly you just shoot out. Where in Tobago we are accustomed to that kind of thing. We're not accustomed to those kind of activities. So we ask upon the law enforcement authorities on the island, step up your game. Finish.
What are some of the areas you think they can step up their game, as you put it, in terms of managing and eradicating this measure of crime on the island of Tobago?
Well, simple. We don't produce guns in Trinidad and Tobago. So the guns, etc., is coming into the island. How the guns come to the island? Air or seaport. And our borders are wide open. they are open. There's nobody there protecting our borders. Our borders are wide, wide, wide open. So that meant that the Coast Guard and the police marine unit, as they have them, they need to step up the game. We need to have intelligence people at some of these ports and some of the ports that is unmanned, because a lot of vessels is moving in and out between these ports and bringing the guns. Yeah, it's simple. The guns are coming at the airport, and even at the seaport where the inter-island ferry. There are some checks going on there, so highly likely a guy will be walking with a machine gun through in his vehicle coming up to Tobago. So it's coming on by the open ports. Come on, everybody knows that. And the guys, I mean, the people within the villages understand what's happening, and they know what's going on, they know all the activities. So the police need to get in there now, get your intelligence people in there and start to work on it, right?
Yeah, it definitely, and I want to agree with you because, as you said, we don't manufacture those weapons here. And when I spoke with Senior Superintendent Cook, I think it was last Monday in our conversation, he was talking about, at the time licensing officers were here and they were talking about tinting and stuff like that. And he was saying, of course, high-powered weapons, you don't walk around with them. But we know they don't walk around with them. But how aggressive is the approach in terms of finding these weapons, finding the way that they come in, stopping them, barring them from coming in, thereby reducing crime?
Yeah, well, because the weapon, as you see, most of the time with the crimes is firearm, and when you look at the type of shells, the rounds they're using, it's not hardly you see 9mm, you're seeing 5.56. Those are high grade weapons, right? And so we know for sure. Whether you have these guys stucking away the weapons and they come and you use them and you put them back into the hiding spot. Listen to me, if I as an average person knows that, come on police, please give me a break. You guys ought to know what's going on the island and stop playing this Mickey Mouse thing. Get to work. Start eradicating all those blocks. Just as you stated, Senior Soup, go down and take away the blocks. Move the men off the blocks. Right here in Scarborough. What are they doing? The police will be there directing traffic and want to give you a ticket for this. And the man right there smoking all the weed and pushing all the drugs and you doing nothing. You only turning your head the next way. What's going on? So policing for what? Traffic? You're a traffic cop. So you don't have no concern about drugs and other element of policing. So you just there. You're turning a blind eye to the guy who pushing drugs right here in Scarborough. So I'm telling you, the police need to step up the game. Stop the nonsense now. We had enough of it. Tobago have enough of the nonsense. Get to work.
And, TTPS also have reported that they have additional help, that we have units coming up from Trinidad, of course, to give the more boots on the ground, as they call it. Have you seen any measure at all of improvement in terms of the visibility of police in areas that we term hotspots?
Well, what I see is nice vehicles with the glass up and air condition. That's what they're going to. And that's what I'm seeing. I'm not seeing the foot patrols. I'm not seeing the guys on the beat, the joint patrols, the army, the Coast Guard on the beat moving around in these so-called hot spots. Well, the whole of Tobago now is like hot. So, but come on, guys. You need to really step up your game. You need to tell these guys, all these drug pushers and all of them, listen, enough of this nonsense. We can't have Tobago turn into this kind of creature that we want to turn it into. Get rid of it.
Do you think that lack of intelligence also hinders the police in terms of being proactive as to how they approach the crime situation?
Well, some folks are a bit fearful in passing information on to the police. But there are so much things out there, 800 tips, Crime Stoppers, that you could pass information and no one will know. So if you have fear of giving the police information because you think everybody is everybody's friend, fine, use 800 tips. Pass information through 800 tips and the information will sure get to the police and they will do what they have to do. But again, it has to be intelligent driven. Right? Policing is not just putting the boots on the ground. There must be some sort of intelligence behind the scene going on in the system. So they have all the different agencies within the police service, and we got additional help on the island. The Prime Minister gave us all that we need, and I don't know what we're doing. We're playing, I don't know if it's Dolly House we're playing on the island, but let's show these guys that you are in charge. You are the police, you are the law. You show the bandits that you are the law, and you get there and be proactive and not reactive. And that's what's happening. I've seen a lot of reactive. So as soon as a crime scene, you're seeing all the police vehicles in the world you could see at the crime scene. But what happened before? What's happening? Go on all the blocks. We know all the blocks from Charleville to Crump Point. I could go with you and show you every single block. But what happened to the police? What's going on with you guys? Come on, step up the game.
And I know CTPS also reported that they have strategies in place, or they're strategizing. You know, we have all the external agencies who are collaborating with them, and they're sitting around the table and putting things in motion. Some of the things I suppose they cannot speak to publicly because that's their strategy. Do you think that they are moving in fast enough time, one, and effective enough in terms of enforcing the law?
No, not at all. We're on the heights of summer. I mean, there's a lot of guests, there's a lot of families on the island. I've been at the port and at the airport, and I see lots of families coming across to enjoy the summer vacation. We're going straight into Tobago Carnival. We can't accept this kind of nonsense happening on the island at this time. It's going to cripple the business. Let's be frank. We have to be frank in our conversation. We cannot allow this to happen. We cannot be going into Tobago Carnival or deep in summer now, into Tobago Carnival with this sort of nonsense. We have to put a stop to it. So hence the reason I'm asking on the TPPS and the law enforcement, step up your game. You said you're going to move to the next wave. Well, go to the third wave. Skip the second. Go straight to the third. And you do what you have to do. We are here as a chamber. We are here as business people to support you 100%. We'll give you all that you so desire in our space that we could assist you with. And I know the Tobago Assembly will assist you as well. So step up your game and do what you have to do as law enforcement. Don't break the law, but do what you have to do. You have the authority to do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're speaking with Mr. Curtis Williams. He is the president of the Tobago Division of the Chamber of Industry and Commerce. And we're talking about crime and the impact of businesses here on the island of Tobago and crime in general. We're going to go for a short break, and when we come back, we're going to continue this conversation. So we ask that you stay with us. And as you stay with us, we invite you to help us. Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
Good morning, morning. Good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show on Tobago Updates Television. We're just about 7:45 a.m. So if you're getting to work for 8 a.m., you have just about 15 minutes to get there. Remember to drive safely on our nation's roads because we want you to get to work as safe as possible. We continue conversations this morning in studio speaking with Mr. Curtis Williams. Yes, he is the president of the Tobago Division of the Chamber of Industry and Commerce. And we're talking about crime on the island of Tobago, the impact on businesses and the impact on our lives in general. And so we're going to continue the conversation, and we started speaking about, community efforts. We understand that there's the community policing because off air we were just talking a little bit about, how the reason sometimes because you're idle. It's literally because you're idle, you have nothing going on, and so you get into these type of criminal activities. And we want to see some intervention there. Because, as I mentioned to TTPS multiple times when they come on this set, if we don't give them an alternative, they're going to take an easier way out. That's
correct. And you hit the nail on the head. We see a lot of guys on the block, as we say. They're idle. There's nothing much happening. We knew in the past, the construction sector used to absorb all these guys, so we used to have them occupy. And now the guys are not occupied that much, and they want to make a buck or two fast, quick money, and they will be on the block doing what they have to do, plying the trade to make this money. And then it becomes a big business, and then it becomes issues, and then it becomes who had to affiliate with what side, because you had to be on the side of X or the side of Y. So it's a big thing going on. It's a big business, massive business going on there on the block. So it's a way of the guys to get, so we need the community intervention. So we're looking at the SOFA aspect of it, and I know the THA indicated that they want to work on that part of it, in getting the young men and them involved in some sort of activities that can really make things happen and on that side. So I'm looking forward to that aspect of the THA coming in to give that soft approach to treat with the young boys and them on the block and get them in the various communities. Because when we look at the various communities across the island and we look at the blocks, we've seen where the idleness, that leads to all the guys have nothing, there's nothing happening. If something is happening in your life or you're busy, I'm getting up for 6 to get ready for work, you're packing a lunch bag and you're going out. You have something to do. You have no time to be on the block to sell no 2-stick of weed or as the case may be. You're busy. And then when after you've done your construction, your 8 hours, you're tired. You ain't going back on no block. You say, boy, I go in and rest. Boy, I have to go back there because my foreman or my contractor won't be there by 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. So you're tired. You have no time for no block. So at least there's something happening. So we're asking that the construction sector lose to pull all these people and get them involved. There's not much happening in the construction sector these days, and we can see there's a bit slowdown in that area in Tobago. We had the roundabout was going on and the airport, but we've seen a lot of folks not from Tobago working there. And I'm not seeing the Tobagonians involved in any massive kind of a work going on the island. So we had to look at that, and we had to look at the other social element. The guys and them, I mean, they don't want to do no 8-hour work any longer. They want it quick. So they will come and they will probably do a morning job as they want to do, and then they'll go and pull bull after that. A lot of hustling going on. We've seen that right through. Everybody trying to make a dollar because things is not as bright as we expected. So they had to look at the thing in all different avenues. We mentioned the new security minister, and he mentioned that he want to come to Tobago, and I can't wait for him. As soon as he touched down in Crown Point, I want to be there at first to tell him, listen to me, and I would tell him plain as it is. There's no conversation. We hide enough. You know, we just crying, shaming Tobago. We doesn't want to talk. We just sit in a corner and murmur. Time, we done with that nonsense. They're going to tell the minister, listen to me, this is what's happening on the island, and they need to be fixed, and we give him some suggestions. We're not only crying and complaining, we are going to give them suggestions as we going forward. So we're waiting for the minister to come across, and we're going to sit with him and give him from the business community some suggestions as we're going forward and how we think certain things will happen. We are not expert. We are the lay person on the floor, and we could give some meaningful suggestions going forward. And one of the main one I give, I remember in the early stages when the ACP took over Tobago, he said there's a new sheriff in town. And you know, he came up with, I mean, he was there, and he was on the media, all the media houses for that week, and he was coming up, and everybody was fair that he's going to be breaking down their houses. And where did the sheriff go on? The sheriff lost his deputy? What's going on with the sheriff? Sheriff, you said there was a new sheriff in town? Come on, let's see what's happening with the sheriff and get things going. But we're not seeing that proactive approach. And that's what we need in this space, the proactive approach going forward.
And the other thing, too, as you spoke about men being idle on the block and making a quick buck, you know, they do something quick, a quick turnover to get a quick buck. And then they go home with this quick buck. Somebody living home with them, and they realize that a quick buck came home and this person is unemployed.
Yeah, definitely.
And then they don't say anything because they're enjoying the life that the quick buck is bringing in. And so we breeding them in our homes, in our communities, and people are aware of this. And I believe that we have a social responsibility.
Yeah, definitely. No, you had to look at the two aspects of it. Yes, the person bringing the proceeds of the crime home, but because of the social element, the single parent, maybe the child there, you have two kids and the mother needs to take care of them, and she just happy for the money to go and buy a little grocery down at the mini mart or what. I mean, we had to look at the reality of what we're facing, you know. Let's stop sticking our heads in the sand and hiding. That's what's really going on. Yes, we know that he know that the boy ain't working nowhere, but he bringing home thousands of dollars. But the reality part of it,
what is the alternative?
The children need to eat. This need to. It's hard. It's hard in some community, and let's just sit on our armchair and let's look down at them. It is very difficult in some communities. So they had to live, but do it the lawful way. So hence the reason why we're asking you, let's find some solutions going forward. And so the guys on the block, I know, yes, you go there for the little hustle, you go there to do because you had to make ends meet, you're hungry, you need to this, you need to see about your children, you need to see about your home, granny there, granny can't get medication, granny this, granny having problems, you know, who ain't working and all the different things, and they're trying to put ends together. Fine, because I don't think they're turning around that money to go and buy a house. No. So hence the reason is just to meet that day-to-day expenses going forward. But I think they're alternative, and I think we should look at the alternative that we could give these guys so they don't have to be on the block trying to make that quick dollar and get themselves involved with all the different organizations who want to be number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 21, and all kind of numbers.
Let's hope it doesn't get to 21.
Right, so that's the thing, because that's what the affiliation. The block will mind you and nurture you, you know. That's what the block does. That's what the block does. And then the leader now will say, well, you are nothing, boy, look a little thing. And then you become loyal because he keep feeding you. And after feeding you for X amount of time, you know what happened? Loyalty, you know, you can't go nowhere. You can't just turn your back and just walk out of me. Well, boy, where you going? You just leaving me just so? Nah. You can't leave me just so. And that's where all the thing happens. I as a layman understand that. Living in Tobago, born here. And you tell me the police they know that? Come on, please. Give me a break. Right? They ought to know this, because if I am a normal person living here in Tobago space, growing up right here, in Tobago, understanding Scarborough, understanding the whole of Tobago. And you tell me the police don't understand that? Our leaders don't understand that? Please, somebody need to do something and do it fast. Because Tobago, I don't like the direction Tobago is going into, and it doesn't do well for us, all of us. Because if crime affects us and it affects our tourists, we have a next problem coming there. Then we think with the police, no police now anymore. Now is the government now have to come in now to step in. So we can't let the crime meet to that stage where it start to affect the tourists. Right now we're trying to keep it there within the villages and so forth, but we need to clean it up and don't let it move to any stage.
And this is a call now for both the government and for corporate Tobago to come together, because you mentioned, the construction industry used to take and absorb some of them. And now the government and corporate has to provide some measure of some type of program, some incentive program, whether it is training in one area where after you're trained, once you qualified, we absorb you somewhere, we create some type of, I know sometimes the demand on the THA or the government to employ people is very high. But if we provide the programs that can help the persons to sharpen their skills or develop skills, make them marketable, even teach them how to start businesses, and I know that some of these programs exist, but there is some kind of drive that needs to be done to encourage these young boys. Because once they get a taste of that on the outside there, to come and tell them, no, I could teach you some skills that you could actually earn $1, it's very difficult,
Yeah,
so
definitely. And you mentioned it. And so what we're trying to say is that you have all these programs existing in this space, but we need one central space that have the information, so the guys could go to that central space, whether it's in East or in the West, but central space to get the data or the information on what I can do and what I can do to help me and my family. We need a central space for that, because there's so much programs going on. Trust me, there's a lot of programs happening in this space. This one running this one running a short one, this one running that one. But sometimes the guys and them are so confused. So we need a central space that they could go and collect the data and enroll into the various programs and get themselves, just show them. We at the business community could assist as much as we can, but we need the enablers, we need the government, we need the contract. We are here, we're willing, we have the expertise, but we need the contract to move forward. So the enablers, which is the government, whether it's the THA or the central government, need to come and enable us and get the thing moving, so that we now could come in there now and absorb the young man and take him into our arms and try to nurture him going forward. Because I tell you, when you're on the site, on a construction site, is a learning atmosphere. It's safe, and they learn a lot. But we keep the criminal elements out of it, and we just make it a safe working area.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we need to do. Create safe spaces where people can feel, I could earn a buck here and I could learn something. And you want to create an environment where, especially with men, young men, they want to feel that measure of value.
Yeah.
That I have some kind of value in me and somebody want what I have. And so they will put themselves there to do the work and to polish themselves and to get better, and of course be better citizens on the island of Tobago, as it were. Because at the end of the day, we really want to get back to a place where I can enjoy my life on Tobago. You can enjoy your life, our families and generations coming up, and we don't want to be living in fear. I'm telling you, I'm sitting here right now and I am reliving the feeling I had yesterday when I was at the food truck.
Yeah, and it's real because there's so much food trucks in Scarborough and otherwise, and sometimes we stop by to get something, and you can imagine a guy just passing and spray the whole with bullets. What's happening? Mm-hmm. So the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, the law enforcement agency on the island, Tobago need to get back to where it was many years ago, right? And we need to do something about it. And we could do our part as the business community, but we ask upon you, the TTPS and the other agencies and them, do your part, right? I know you said you will step it up and it may be inconvenient. You do what you have to do. Just make sure you do it lawful. That's all. Do it lawful, but do what you have to do and get rid the island of that element of that gang. We can't deal with that gang culture.
And you know, sometimes in some communities back then, you knew everybody who was living in your village.
Yeah.
And now you're seeing a lot of people migrating to certain communities that we don't know of. Just be vigilant.
Yeah.
You know, the call is for you to be vigilant in your communities. If you see something, you know, unusual, something strange, something questionable, you know, be vigilant. And if you think you have to make a call, make a call. It's better to be safe than to be sorry.
That's correct. And you said it right. We all be vigilant. I mean, you're coming for a job, we will always ask you for your ID and all that. Whether it's construction, you might not want to fill out the paper because most of them sometimes can't fill out all that application form, but there's a simple thing as your ID. We take a copy of your ID, we create a nice file for you. And so we will know who we employ. And it happens all. We just won't just employ you without knowing who we employ. So we have an idea of going forward. But again, as I indicated, the law enforcement agencies, the TTPS and the business community, we have to sit and come up with meaningful solution. And the first thing is to make Tobago safe once more. And we have to do that. We have to do that in our action. We have to do that in waking up in the morning. We must feel that way. We must be able to walk Scarborough. We must be able to walk Crown Point, walk Roxborough, and feel safe once more. And the only way that could be done is with all of us come together. It can't be the police alone. We, the population, have to assist the police. We have information, pass it on to the police. If you fear to call them, call 800-TIP, pass the information on to their anonymous, and you will get your, you just get a little reward and all of that with passing the tip, fine. Nobody know that you squeal on them. But we have to get Tobago back to where it ought to be.
That is right. Ladies and gentlemen, we were speaking with Curtis Williams, the president of the Tobago Division of the Chamber of Industry and Commerce, talking about crime on the island of Tobago. And of course, in his closing remarks, talking about providing meaningful solutions and the fact that fighting crime is a collaborative effort. The police cannot do it on their own. There are agencies who have to support, and you, and so do I, we have to come together as communities and to help these agencies as we curb crime here on the island of Tobago. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where we end the morning show, but it's not where we end our programming. We head on over to GMT, so we ask that you stay with us. And as you stay with us, we invite you to help us. Share the live, share the live, share the live.